Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched The Happy Prince, which is written by, directed and stars Rupert Everett as Oscar Wilde. More specifically, Oscar Wilde in his last few years before he passed away, but after his 2 years hard labour and incarceration for basically being a homosexual. So I'll be honest and say that I don't really know too much about Oscar Wilde. He wasn't someone that I ever studied at school when I was younger, so I don't really know anything more than the basics apart from his plays like The Importance of Being Earnest and The Picture of Dorian Gray. But it's very clear that Rupert Everett does know this man very well and is very passionate about him and this project. And he's crafted quite a mood piece. It's very somber and very bleak because he was a broken man at the end of his life. He's cut off from his family, he's lost his fortune, and he's heavily dependent on booze and drugs. But perhaps the saddest thing that this film highlights was that he was aware he was on this complete self-destructive path. He's lost complete faith in humanity, apart from a few friends who are still around. Some are genuine, some are not, as he's meditating on his previous life and trying to build a new one. He says early on in the film that his previous life he lived in vice and pleasure, and he knows that if he's going to connect with his family, he's got to put that aside, but he can't give in to his impulses. And what I found most interesting about the film is that even though it's set 100 years ago, it's still relevant and rings true today with our celebrity culture and our trolling culture. So he's basically hiding out in France. He's changed his name, but he still gets recognised from time to time and he gets completely harassed. It's awful and just depressing. But amidst the gloom, there are moments where his charisma shines through. He can still command an audience with his storytelling, and Everett is in his complete element. I was a bit distracted at times with the prosthetics, and I'm sure he was wearing a bodysuit to bulk him up a bit, but it doesn't hinder his performance, which does shine through. I was also impressed with the way that he structured his story. He's adopted a non-linear approach and uses flashbacks to offer brief glimpses to Wilde in his heyday and happier times when he's reading bedtime stories to his children. Granted, they are snapshots and broad strokes into who he was. The main focus of this film is who he is at the end of his life, and yeah, it is quite traumatic. The film also benefits from real location shooting, which takes us from Victorian London to France and then to Italy. I'm not sure if they actually filmed it in those locations. What I'm saying is they haven't filmed it on set, and the film benefits from that. I was also surprised at the lack of Steadicam shots. A lot of it is handheld, which does ground the film, but on occasions it does go a bit too shaky cam. For example, there is not a fight scene in a bar, but there is a scrap, and it gets a bit too disorientating. But then this isn't an action film, and this is his directorial debut, so I'll forgive him for that. But on that note, there was on occasions where I thought he was trying a bit too hard to make it too arty and a bit Oscar baity. For example, there's a shot with Oscar Wilde and his lover Bosie standing on this mountaintop. It's all windswept. The dialogue has been muted, so you can't hear what they're saying. And it looks nice and all that, but it kind of feels like it was a DVD extra deleted scene footage. I'm not really sure why it was in the film. There's also another scene when Oscar Wilde stands up and he does this sort of pose, and then it crossfades between a statue also doing the pose. It just kind of cheapens the film a little bit for me. But I don't want to take anything away from Rupert Everett. I really admire the fact that he did write this, he did direct it and star in it. That's quite an achievement. And he has gathered an impressive cast as well, from Colin Firth to Emily Watson. All of the supporting cast do a fantastic job, and as I say, it does paint quite a picture of what his life was like in his last few years. It's really quite sad. So that's my thoughts on The Happy Prince, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. I think Rupert Everett has done Oscar Wilde justice by examining the injustice of it all. It really does hit home, but it's not a film that I'm eager to watch again. I don't think I'm going to be buying this on Blu-ray when it comes out, but I do think it's the perfect film for students at school or at university to watch as a companion piece to their studies. So thanks very much for watching my review of The Happy Prince. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like, and don't forget to share the lave. You go too far, sir!